Hello,
Hey,
everyone. Hey, thank
hi
you so
Aisha.
much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for making the time to join us. I'll let you take over the screen share to do a self-introduction and to start the presentation.
Awesome, cool. Well, yeah, again, just a huge thank you to you, Ellen, to HTDC, to the Innovation Currency Lab for having us. I'm super excited to be here and to give you all this presentation. I'm going to get my screen share going. Just one moment, please. Yeah, so thank you so much again for listening. My name is Aisha Arif. I am the community manager at MakersPlace. So MakersPlace is one of the pioneering NFT platforms. We are a platform for creating, selling, and collecting unique digital creations, also known as NFTs. We're going to dive into what NFTs are and what it means for artists and collectors in this presentation. But just a little bit of background on me. So my role is community manager. I've been at MakersPlace for a little over a year and a half now. Earlier, or like before the big NFT boom that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about, and we're going to talk about that as well. But so my role as community manager is to excite and ignite the NFT community. A big part of this is identifying and addressing roadblocks to adoption. So what are things that are holding people back from participating in the NFT movement as creators or as collectors? Another big thing that I do with MakersPlace is I organize a number of community events. So usually that takes form in as virtual exhibitions, which are really cool. And also going to share more details and some photos and updates on what's going on in that sphere. And really just cultivating and supporting creativity within the digital art space, no matter what that takes, whether that's onboarding new creators, answering questions for collectors, creating content that helps people understand the space and what is happening within it, helping artists with marketing themselves and learning business tips, because as you know, if there's any artists in the building, you guys know that is just something that is a big challenge for a lot of artists. And you know, overall, my goal and MakersPlace's goal is to really bridge the gap between traditional fine art spaces, technology, and the blossoming NFT movement as a means of empowering digital creativity for all, making digital creativity something that's accessible to everyone, no matter where they live, no matter what their age, race, sexual orientation, any of that is. We want everyone to be able to tap into this new movement. So with that being said, I want to ask, or I want to dive into what is an NFT. And so before I start kind of explaining, breaking down a high level explanation of NFTs, I'd like to ask you all a question, which is, first of all, do you know what NFTs are? Or have you heard of NFTs? And if you have heard of NFTs, do you understand what they are? So Ellen, if you're able to help bring up that question, thank you. Awesome. And I don't know, should I wait for people to answer it? Will I see the answers in live time, Ellen, or should I move on and keep talking while
I
people?
think let's just give everyone maybe like 30 seconds. I'm
Awesome.
seeing a
Okay.
bit come
Cool.
in.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm
So,
very excited to see what you guys have to say about this. I have a feeling where this may go, but let's see if I'm correct.
okay, we are at 87% completion rate. Just waiting for two more folks to put in their answers. Okay, it seems they might be. Okay, one last person. Come on, we can do this.
Don't be shy.
Okay, 8 more seconds. I think we're done here. So end poll. Let me share the results with everybody.
Awesome. Okay. So everyone here has heard of NFTs. That's awesome. That's not surprising. I feel like that's been like NFTs have really been a buzzword that everyone's kind of talking about on social media, in the news, all of that stuff. I think that, you know, NFTs are kind of a polarizing topic right now. Like there's kind of two people or two sides of the spectrum, right? There's people who are really into them and who think that this is the future of digital art and creativity and decentralizing the world and empowering our global citizens and global creators, right? And then there's other people on the spectrum that are like, oh, this sounds like a scam. I don't get it. This is weird. I've heard people say it's a pyramid scheme, all of these type of things. So, and then there's people, which it seems like the majority here are people who don't fully quite understand what NFTs are. Like, you've heard about them, you've heard both sides of the story, but you don't completely know or understand what it is. So that's great, because that's what we're here to talk about. I'm here to break it down for you guys. So what is an NFT? Before we talk about NFTs specifically, I want to talk a little bit about blockchain. I don't know, I'm sure everyone here listening has varying levels of understanding about blockchain, but I just want to give a high level definition. So blockchain is a database or system of recording information across a network of multiple computers all over the world. As long as you have a computer, you can tap in and record and view these. And the big thing about blockchain is that information that is stored and recorded within the blockchain is essentially impossible to change and alter. Once something is on the blockchain, it's there permanently. You can't tweak it. You can't change things about it. The only way to do that is to completely erase it and then re-upload something, right? So a nice way to think about blockchain is to think about it as a digital ledger. So, banks or financial systems or, any type of like traditional institution, they have these ledgers, right? Even traditional art institutions, right? They have ledgers that keep track of data of, this person input this much money, this person output this much money, this person sent this much money to this person, all of that type of stuff. Same idea, except it's one, all digital, and two, it's decentralized, which means anyone, unlike the traditional institutions and their ledgers, anyone with a computer can actually gain access and view this information. So that in itself is something that really sets blockchain apart and makes it a pretty big deal. Now, to get a little bit more specific, I want to talk just super briefly about Ethereum blockchain. The vast majority of NFTs are created on Ethereum blockchain. Not to say that all NFTs are created on Ethereum blockchain. There's definitely other ones that are out there, but like very much the vast majority. And so Ethereum is decentralized, as I said, open source. So anyone with a computer can tap in and view transactions that are happening on the Ethereum blockchain, and it has a smart contract functionality. And so this has really been a game changer for artists and for collectors in the space, because it's kind of essentially making financial transactions highly effective, and taking away a lot of human error and a lot of just error in general that could happen. It's all kind of built in. So we'll talk more about this, specifically what this looks like, but things like receiving royalties for artist creations, things like just being able to split payments in certain ways. All of these things are made possible and easier through smart contract functionality on Ethereum blockchain. And I do want to just clear up, I think that what I've heard a lot of confusion about in the past is people are like, wait, I thought Ethereum is a cryptocurrency. Now you're saying it's a blockchain? Like, what's the deal? So it's actually both. So there's the Ethereum blockchain, which, as I said, a blockchain is just a network of a system of recording information shared by a network of computers, right? Ethereum or Ether is the cryptocurrency that is tied to Ethereum blockchain specifically. Bitcoin, I'm sure everyone's heard of Bitcoin, is tied to Bitcoin blockchain. So it's not Ethereum blockchain and Ethereum cryptocurrency are slightly different. NFTs are another token that runs on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so let's get to it. What is an NFT? So an NFT is a non-fungible token. So first of all, I just want to break down, what does non-fungible mean? Non-fungible means it cannot be changed, right? So once it is published, once it has been put onto the Ethereum blockchain, you can't change it. So NFTs are digital asset tokens that are unique and irreplaceable. So a big difference between Bitcoin and NFTs, for example, is that Bitcoins, all of those tokens are essentially identical, right? You can buy a Bitcoin, trade that Bitcoin, buy another Bitcoin, even though you're buying a different Bitcoin, right? It's still the same as the one that you had previous. NFTs are completely different. There is no two NFTs are the same. So say that someone, and I think this will make more sense as we get deeper into the presentation, but say that someone publishes a work of art as an NFT. There's 10 editions of that work of art. So you can buy one edition, and if you sell that edition and then go and try to buy one of the other editions that came from that 10 edition piece of artwork, the other edition you're buying, it's still going to be different. It's not going to be the same as the one that you had purchased or sold. And so I also just want to say, as I am getting into this, I forgot to say this in the beginning, but if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask them in the question box, and I'll definitely answer them if relevant while we're doing this, and if not at the end. But I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys, so I want to make sure that everyone has a clear understanding. But so yeah, that is something that really sets NFTs apart, is that they're unique, they're irreplaceable, they cannot be changed or altered once they are minted or published. They usually live on the Ethereum blockchain. Like I said, this is not always the case, but usually the case. And what is really important for artists and for collectors and lovers of art, as NFTs pertain to digital art, is that NFTs contain artwork files as well as important information pertaining to the origin, ownership, and authenticity of that art. So NFTs have really been a game changer for digital art and digital artists. Yeah. So looking specifically into NFTs and digital art and like what that means for creators. So NFT is a digital token that is inextricably tied to the artwork using blockchain technology. So the digital token contains the artwork file, like I said, but it also includes a proof of authenticity that includes really, really crucial information regarding provenance and authenticity of an artwork that cannot be changed and cannot be forged in any way. So getting into the specifics of what does that actually mean, right? So looking at an NFT, a digital art NFT specifically, that it's a token that contains, one, the artwork file. Artwork files can be anything from an image, they can be an MP4, a moving image, an animation, they can contain music, audio, they could be audio visuals. Like there's really a huge range of what the artwork file may look like, but it will typically always contain the artwork file. Then this is the important and crucial part of NFTs, is that it contains a proof of authenticity. So just like how if you were in the traditional art world going to buy a painting, say you're going out and you're buying a Picasso painting, right? The way that you would know that this Picasso painting is actually a Picasso painting is typically there is a written document that acts as a proof of authenticity. And in that document, you know, it has notes about everything about that artwork, who's purchased it, when it was created, who's purchased it, when it's been transferred, all of this information, right? Digital art has never contained that. There's been no way of proving that with digital art until NFTs. And so then some of the ways that this like provenance and authenticity is proven within digital art is through a permanent digital signature from the artist. And this is usually in the form of their Ethereum wallet address. So each Ethereum user, you create a Ethereum wallet and it generates a code or an address for you. And that acts as a signature for anything that you create through that wallet. It will also include the publishing creation date. it will include the number of editions that were created. So is this an artwork that's a one of one? There's only one that exists of it in the entire world. Is this an artwork that has 10 editions and there's 10 that exist throughout the entire world? So this is really huge in establishing scarcity, which is something also that has never before been able to be applied to digital art. And I want to talk more about that later as well. But this is, it's a pretty big game changer. It's what sets digital art apart from being just a copy and a paste of something. And also the NFT proof of authenticity includes all subsequent sale and transfer histories. So the moment the artwork is purchased, you will be able to see who it was purchased by, when it was purchased. If it gets sold again, you'll see who it was purchased by that time, where it was transferred to, forever. And anyone can view this information. And so I want to give you guys just an example of what that actually looks like. So this is a page, an artwork page from MakersPlace. This is an artwork that I own on MakersPlace. It's a really beautiful piece of work by an artist named Leo. He's an awesome artist from Las Vegas. But so you'll see that, and I click on that proof of authenticity, it has, and let me pause for a second, it has the creator name, the edition information, when it was created, the token name. So it's on MakersPlace. They're created on MakersPlace tokens, but it's actually created on an Ethereum, standard Ethereum token. And then if you scroll down, you'll see, so it shows that I was the owner of this artwork when I purchased this artwork. I could view the details on blockchain to see more like the actual transaction IDs of me purchasing it and it getting transferred to me. And then, sorry. Oops. Let's see. And then you can see the edition information. So there's 3 editions of this artwork exist. 2 of them are owned by Modrat's Art. One was purchased on this date, the other on this date, view on blockchain. And then, sorry, I keep doing that. Forgive me, I'm new to giving these webinar content things. But so if you, this is the interesting part, is you click on the view full blockchain details, then you are taken to this page, the Etherscan. And so Etherscan is where you can view literally any transactions that happen on blockchain. So, or on the Ethereum blockchain. So you'll see, there's, oh my God, sorry guys, I keep doing this. Okay, so you'll see that there's, this is the transaction hash that's associated with this piece. You can see that's the wallet number of the artist. They sent it to my wallet number. There's gas fees, which is a transaction fee that you pay on Ethereum that goes to the Ethereum operators. So that's the fee of the gas, which I think is a topic for another conversation. But basically everything is here, and this is etherscan.io. This is where you can view literally any transaction that happens on the Ethereum blockchain. Anyone can view it at any time. So all in all, for those reasons that I just went through, and I'll go back to the slide really quickly again, these assets within the digital token, they help to attach authenticity by, having a digital signature. They help to attach provenance and origin to the piece, so you can view everything that has ever really happened to the piece, from when it's published to if it's sold, if it's transferred, everything. And then the really big thing that I talk about here is that it helps to attach scarcity to something that was previously ubiquitous, therefore adding value to it. So the same way that, a print, or, you can even think about it like sneakers or something, like, say some Jordans there only this many that exist of this certain shoe, right, that they're going to release. Because of that, because there's a demand for it and they know that it's rare, there's not as many, it's not an endless supply of it, that creates value and that gets, demand pumping. In the past with digital art, there was literally no way to establish scarcity. It was like, there's no original digital artwork. There's no editions of digital artwork, right? It's literally, you can it's put out onto the internet. You can copy, you can paste it. There's thousands and millions of copies floating around. You don't know which one is the true artwork that was published by the artist and put out by the artist. So now with NFTs, you can have that information. Therefore, we are adding value to something that was previously ubiquitous. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about MakersPlace. That is the company that I work at. So MakersPlace, as I said earlier, we are a platform and online community for buying, selling, collecting NFT, unique digital creations, also known as NFTs. Should be said in that sentence for creating NFTs as well. So we have a large community of both artists and collectors. There's many artists who, coming from all different backgrounds. Some are coming from fine art backgrounds, some are traditional fine art backgrounds, some are, very versed in the digital world and are, digital pioneers. And others are just really excited about, this new technology, and they're, maybe don't have formal training, but they're diving into art and exploring this new world. So a big kind of broad range of the artists that are on the platform. Same thing with collectors. We have collectors from all over the world. Some are coming from the traditional fine art world. Some are just blockchain and crypto enthusiasts, and they're just super excited about this movement. Some are, extremely technical and, well-versed in NFTs in the digital world. Others are super newcomers. It's all, it's very much kind of a mix. So, which is awesome, which is how we want it to be. And so this is just kind of a sneak peek of what our marketplace on MakersPlace looks like. So there's, artworks with a variety of prices under 500. There's artworks that go in like the 6 figures. There's artworks that are going for under $100. It's a broad range as well. And then there are also artworks that only one of them exists. There's artworks that there's editions of 15, editions of 100. It's a huge range. A lot of you may have heard of MakersPlace, or may have heard of NFTs even through this, pretty historic and legendary sale that happened in partnership with Christies and a digital artist named Beeple. So we were actually the platform that helped make that partnership happen. We connected with Christies. We were cold calling them, cold emailing them, trying to introduce them to NFTs. Once we got some interest, we connected with another huge digital artist in the space who was actually relatively new to NFTs, but Beeple, who had been creating every day for 5,000 days, many years, has been creating a piece of digital art every day and posting it onto his Instagram. And so through this collaboration, he created an artwork that is literally a accumulation of all 5,000 paintings or digital artworks that he created. And that artwork sold for $69.3 million at Christie's auction house, which was the record price for any digital artwork in history. And it was also the 3rd highest sale of any living artist just in general. That's digital artists and traditional fine artists. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. I just think that maybe people have heard of this. I know that this was a big kind of introduction to NFTs for a lot of people. And so a little bit about our company. So our founders, Yash Nepalti, Danny Chu, and Ryoma Ito, they were early employees at Pinterest. And so a lot of you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with Pinterest. It is a platform. It's pretty much a hub for digital content and just content in general, right? But through their time at Pinterest, they witnessed the struggles of a lot of digital content creators they're having their works misattributed, their works were being stolen, miscredited, being altered without their permission. They had no financial incentive whatsoever. And sometimes they were just basically being flat out stolen from them. So, witnessing what was happening and just kind of the amount of digital creativity that there was out there, but kind of the dangers and pain points that these digital creators were facing really acted as a motivation for our founders to start exploring NFTs and to launch MakersPlace. And so a little bit about the MakersPlace team. So we are a team of artists ourselves. I mean, a little bit about me. My mom and my dad are both artists. My mom was a fine art director at the San Francisco Excelsior Boys and Girls Club for many years of my life. So, you know, art as a vehicle of change and a vehicle of empowerment and community empowerment, especially, is something that has been really salient and important to me my entire life. You know, we're a team of, we have multiple artists on our team. We have creators of all forms, graphic designers, technologists, dreamers, makers, all of that. We have people who are coming from traditional fine art institutes such as Sotheby's, Christie's, to tech startups and beyond. So we all have a pretty big, diverse background of experiences and perspectives. So really, one of our biggest goals at MakersPlace is to, and I'm so sorry, excuse that spelling error in this slide, but our biggest goal is to bridge the gap between traditional art worlds and digital art worlds. And so one of the ways that we are doing this is, first of all, just making it really easy for people from the traditional art spaces to come over to the NFT space. You know, there's a lot of people who hear the word crypto and they just get really freaked out. They're like, oh, like, is that a scam? Is that illegal? Like, is it something bad? Also, people, you know, you hear about, is there scams going on? Like, what if I lose access to my wallet? Like, what if this happens, right? So our goal is to make, first of all, provide enough education and resources and, you know, just on the call support for artists and collectors, so that we can really help like ease that transition, make it less scary, make it easier for people to understand. A big thing that a big way that we do that is we're one of the only platforms, one of the few platforms that actually accepts credit cards to make offers for. So people who are coming to MakersPlace who are new to the blockchain world, if you don't feel comfortable making your own Ethereum wallet and doing all of your transactions in Ethereum and through your wallet, you don't have to. You can just simply go make an account. You can purchase digital art with a credit card. And MakersPlace, we actually create Ethereum wallets that we help you manage so that you don't have to worry about, oh, what if I lose access to my wallet, or what if someone hacks my wallet, or what if, like, all of these what ifs. We kind of want to take away that worry and that stress away from collectors and from creators, to be able to just dive in and educate themselves. And then once they're ready, then they can transition to having their own Ethereum wallets, making purchases in ETH or accepting offers in ETH, and all that good stuff. All in all, our goal at MakersPlace is that we want to enable a vibrant future for digital creativity. And so the way that we're doing that is by empowering digital creatives and digital creators to, you know, have a space where they can not only put their artwork out for it to be appreciated and admired by the world, but where they can actually profit off of these creations that they're spending a lot of time and effort and throwing themselves into. Having this incentive in our minds is going to help further push and guarantee that there is a future of digital creativity, that people have motivation and reason to be able to participate in this. So I spoke about this a little bit already, but, you know, in the past, digital art is not something new. Digital art has been being created for decades, since like the 60s, really, since computers came out, maybe even before computers came out. But digital art has never really been collected or appreciated or recognized in the same way that traditional physical art has, really for no fault of the creators of its own. Not to say that it's less in quality, but really because of the issues that I had brought up before, of there being no way to establish authenticity. So it was pretty much impossible to establish that like this person who is saying that they created the artwork is actually the one who created the artwork. There was no way of establishing provenance. There was no way of establishing scarcity. So, you know, this is a one-of-one version of the artwork. I own the artwork file for this creation. No one else in the world owns this artwork file but me. There was no way of establishing that because people could literally just copy and paste. And there was no artwork that actually had a digital signature of the artist on it. And so obviously this would hurt artists in a lot of ways. They're losing out on recognition and potential fans. Other people and companies are profiting from their work. So, you know, if you look online, you'll see that there are a lot of instances of, you know, small artists who maybe don't have a huge fan base. A big company would see their artwork, then go print it on a t-shirt and make tons of money from them, and those artists don't get a dime, right? Their work wasn't being valued in the same way as physical artworks because of lack of scarcity, which I just kind of explained. And again, as in other words, that meant that there was no original, no one-of-one. Every version that existed was a copy. So now let's talk about how do NFTs empower creators. And before we dive into this, I would just like to pose the second poll, Ellen, if that's okay. Just want to get a feeling to see kind of this audience, you guys that are listening, thank you so much, by the way, of kind of your interests. And are you people who like to collect things? Do you collect cards? Do you collect shoes? Do you collect stamps, coins, anything like that? Do you collect art? Do you have, you know, that you can see in the background, I'm an art collector of all forms, not necessarily, you know, super high-end expensive art, but I love to collect art. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people in this audience that are with me on that one. So I'd love to see where you guys are at with that before we dive into this next section.
We are at 75% completion, 81%.
Awesome. And I hope everyone is having a great week so far too. I'm so excited to be here talking to you guys.
Excited to have you. Okay, we're done. I'm going to share the results.
Okay, so we got some collectors in the building. Nice. So almost 70% of you guys collect in general. And I guess in the Q&A, I'd love to hear what exactly you collect. That'd be awesome. And then we have over 50% of you collect art. So that's perfect. So this is, you know, this conversation I think will hopefully be opening up a new avenue of collecting that you guys might want to dive into. But so first of all, before we get into kind of the benefits for collectors, let's talk about how do NFTs empower creators. So I spoke on this a little bit already, but digital art is not something new. It's something that people have been creating for decades. What is new is that people are finally getting to be recognized for their digital art. We are, you know, seeing the same activity in the digital art market. First of all, the inception of the digital art market, which didn't exist before NFTs, but we're seeing digital artists get the same recognition as traditional artists. And, you know, just because the medium that you work in is digital doesn't mean that you're any less skilled or that it takes any less effort, thought, or passion to create your artworks. Another big point with this is that a lot of digital creators in the past, their primary form of income had only been through working through like creative agencies, doing branding for companies. Through NFTs, digital artists now have the freedom to profit off of their own creations, off of their own creativity. They don't have to rely off of just building other people's visions. They can build their own visions. The other benefit is that the democratization of the arts. So there's no more gatekeeping. You can join in and become an NFT artist and publish an NFT no matter where in the world you are, no matter what your age, race, sexual orientation, anything. It doesn't matter who you are, your location, you can join in this movement. A lot of times there are people who, you know, may be living in countries that had less access to traditional art galleries, but they're amazing artists. Now it doesn't matter. You can still display your artworks and connect with collectors or creators all over the world through NFTs. The other thing, and this is huge for artists, is that artists for the first time ever in history can benefit from secondary sales and royalties. So, you know, traditionally in the physical art world, once an artwork is sold to a collector, if that collector then decides to resell the artwork at a profit, the artist does not benefit at all in any way, unless the collector is really nice and decides like, oh, hey, let me go and pay this artist, which rarely happens. But so with smart contracts and with NFTs, the artist actually, and this is for MakersPlace specifically, the artist will always, no matter what, receive a 10% royalty for any secondary sale and beyond. So even if an investor or a collector, they get an artwork for a lower price and then they resell it at a profit, the artist is still going to benefit. And this is really, really huge. This is not possible before. And then just talking about some financial incentives for artists. I mean, you know, first of all, expanding your audience from a more localized in-person audience to this global collector base, global collector community. The NFT community is really close-knit and supportive. And so it's really beneficial for artists to get to tap into that community. Traditionally, fine art galleries take a 50% commission cut from artists, which is pretty huge. MakersPlace and most other platforms, we take a 15% cut from artists, and that is for, you know, helping to connect artists to their collectors and all the marketing and all the kind of amplification and you know, just helping to provide visibility and all of that stuff for artists, as well as like onboarding support, all that stuff. But 15 versus 50 is a pretty significant difference. Artists also have control over their own pricing and when they're putting out artworks, for how much they're putting out artworks. There's no gallery kind of dictating how they can operate. They get to operate completely on their own terms. And another thing, they get to have direct interaction and enhanced relationships with their collectors, fans, and other artists. A lot of times in traditional galleries, you know, there's kind of the gallery acts as a middleman between the collector and the artist. And they sometimes don't want the collector and the artist to connect because that might, you know, cut them out of the equation. Through platforms like MakersPlace and NFTs, collectors and artists are constantly connecting and getting to know each other and having really strong relationships. Okay, next, and I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit because I realize that I'm going a bit over here. So next, I want to talk about benefits for collectors. Why should someone collect a piece of digital art? So I know that there's, first of all, a lot of confusion about like, why would I collect something that I could literally just look at an image of it on Instagram or just look at it online or, you know, save an image of it on my laptop and have it as my screen, right? So it really boils down to ownership. And so I love to use the example of the Mona Lisa for this one. So you can go to the museum, take a photo of the Mona Lisa, right? You can print that photo out, put it on your wall. You can even like get someone to like make an exact replica or like print that photo on a canvas so that it looks exactly identical to the Mona Lisa, and put it on your wall. Is it the same thing as having the one-of-one Mona Lisa created by Leonardo da Vinci in your house? No, it's not, because Leonardo da Vinci didn't create this. It's not his artwork. He's not, well, he wouldn't be benefiting, but it's not the Mona Lisa. So it's the same deal with NFTs. What you're really purchasing is, you know, someone, yeah, technically you can copy and paste something, but you don't own that. You don't own the artwork file. It's not yours. You just pulled something off of the internet. So it really comes down to ownership, supporting the artist, and, you know, collecting. So art as an investment, this is a really interesting one. And, I was talking with Ellen, maybe we'll do a talk on this subject just as an entire topic, because there's a lot to it. But I do want to just share that NFTs are an investment, for sure. Right now we are very much at like the tip of the iceberg. There has not been, despite all of the kind of media mentions and buzz around NFTs, we have not seen mass adoption at all. Our world is becoming more and more digital. A new digital generation is, about to come of age and have purchasing power, and things are going to be changing a lot. And so as mass adoption begins to happen in the NFT world, you will see artworks that are purchased early on really rise in value. And so this is an example of one of them. It's a death comic. It's created by an artist named Jose Delbo. He is actually an 86-year-old comic artist. He's a pretty big deal in the comic world. He did a number of Silver Age and Bronze Age comic books for any comic fans who are listening. He's best known for Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. He actually did the cover of the Beatles Yellow Submarine comic, which is pretty awesome. So he entered the NFT space last year as an 86-year-old, and he put out in the NFT space his own original comic that he's for his entire life wanted to do, and NFTs actually gave him the chance to do that. So this is actually a 46-page plus comic book that only the owners get access to. There were 250 editions of this comic book printed or released, and of those, one of the comic books, they were released from like $40 to $70. This specific one was released and purchased for almost $70. And then a year later, it was purchased again for 1.1 ETH, which was $3,407.56. So that's almost a $5,000 increase in US dollar value. So that's pretty insane. And you'll see a lot of examples like that in the NFT space, and they're just going to increase as time goes by and mass adoption happens. So what I think is really the most exciting thing for NFTs as collectors and as art lovers is that this is a completely new way to engage with art. Never before have we been able to have art that moves, that's animated, that has sound, that has audio to it. There's VR art, there's AR art, there's generative art that changes and evolves. This is a whole new form of art, and collectors have the chance to own and interact and engage with it, which I think is really exciting. Another really cool thing, what we're seeing in the NFT space is a lot of creators are actually attaching experiences and, community perks to artworks. So, for example, some of the bigger artists or bigger known names that are entering the space, like musicians, right? They will sometimes attach a VIP concert ticket to one of their artworks. So the owner of that artwork will also get to have that experience in real life, or they'll, get to have a call with that artist, or they'll get to receive something in physical too. So there's a lot of crossover between traditional physical art and digital art still happening in the space. Another really interesting point is the thrill of collecting without having more stuff. So this is an interesting one. It's kind of a newer perspective, but as the world is becoming more digital, we're seeing more people who are working from home, remote workers, right? There's a lot of people who are moving away from having a lot of clutter, a lot of stuff. They want to be able to, to move easily and change their locations easily, or they just don't want to, buy stuff that in a few years is going to deteriorate and possibly end up in a landfill, or, not stand the test of time, right? So NFT and art in this form is perfect for that. You can literally have one digital frame, which I'm going to show you guys in a second, that holds 100 artworks that you can carry with you anywhere. Or You can carry your artworks, your collection with you on your computer or pull it up on a TV. You don't necessarily have to have more stuff and worry about, oh, what if something spills on it? What if it degrades over time? All of this stuff. So that's a really interesting advantage to collecting as well. The other cool thing is that you can share and display your collections anywhere in the world, to anyone in the world. You know, a lot of people have galleries, but local galleries, people have to be in your location. If you want to show off your collection and show the artwork that you collected that you love, you have the potential to do that. And I'm going to show you guys how in the next slide. But also you have the option to enjoy it privately in your home. I mean, that's why we collect things, right? That's why we collect art, is because we enjoy it and because we love it. Which brings me to the last point, for the love of art. We all love art. So it's exciting to be able to get to support this new art movement and the creators that are within it. And so to that point that I just brought up about, you know, ways that you can display your art to the world. So it's pretty cool. What's going on is it's called the Metaverse. I don't know how many people in here are familiar with that, but there are these worlds that have basically virtual digital buildings within them, where you can set up galleries and people can go and walk through your galleries and go and experience the art within your gallery. So this is an example of one. And this is an example of another one. This is like an actual Metaverse gathering party, and you can see people get really into it and they dress all funky in there. These two artworks that are displayed are actually artworks from that comic artist, Jose Delbo, that I just was telling you guys about, who honestly, NFTs kind of transformed his life completely. He became, you know, a millionaire from NFTs at 86 years old. So it's, you know, really huge for someone who's been spending their entire life creating and working it and not seeing the financial benefits that they deserve. And then this is another really cool thing, is I just want to give you guys a taste of the Metaverse because it's really awesome. And if you've never checked it out, I'd highly recommend you go to Decentraland or to Crypto Voxels and check out, and maybe I'll put some links in the chat once we're doing the Q&A for you guys to check it out. But so we're actually doing tonight at MakersPlace, we're doing a screening, a red carpet premiere of a 5-minute cinema film. So it's spoken word and cinema combined. That is for that speaks out against kind of the hardships that inner city youth face, being forced to live in environments that do not have you know, adequate accessibility to greenery, to nature, to, you know, kind of having bars on the windows. The series called Break the Bars. But so that's also an example of NFTs for social good, which is something that I didn't really touch upon in this, but that's also a whole another topic that we can dive into and explore. But that's just an example of kind of the cool things happening in the Metaverse, what people are doing and how they're using NFTs as a really interesting form of art. And, you know, as they're using NFTs to talk about important social issues, and also a portion of this specific drop is going to foundations that actually help disadvantaged youth. So there's a lot of cool, interesting things happening in the space. And then also just going back to the ways that, you know, as a collector, what you can do with your digital art is that, you know, you can have a digital frame, as I mentioned, and they're very similar to physical frames, except in the sense that you can have rotating display of artwork, and the artwork that's within the frame actually can move. It can have sound. It can, you know, there's all these different things that can happen with it. It's really, really exciting and cool. Also, you know, an iPad, a TV monitor, a computer monitor, these are also all forms of digital frames as well. So really the point that I'm trying to get at here for both creators and collectors is that, you know, NFTs brought about a digital art renaissance, really, and it's the next big art movement for sure. I think that in 50 years, this is something that we're going to be learning about in art history textbooks, and it's very much only the beginning. So, you know, any questions that you guys have, any just kind of thoughts that you have about this, or how can I get into the NFT space, something that's unclear to you still about it, please feel free to get in touch with the MakersPlace team at that email, or on Twitter, or you can send me a message on Twitter. If you follow me and like tweet at me, I will follow you back and we can have a conversation. But I'm just so excited for all of you guys to be here and to engage and learn about this next digital art movement and what it means for creators and collectors. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aisha. We have a couple of questions from the audience for you in Q&A, so let's get to it.
Did I keep the screen? Is it helpful to keep the slides open, or should I just
Yeah,
switch?
I think you can keep the slides open in case some of them would like to get your contact details.
Okay, will do. Okay.
Yeah, so I think the first question from Wax Wars, he's asking, is the NFT stuck in MakersPlace, or can you move it to other marketplaces once you own it?
Yeah, so once you own the NFT, you can move it to other platforms. So MakersPlace, the way that we work is that we are like open source. So actually artworks that are published or created and purchased on MakersPlace will be listed automatically on sites like OpenSea, which are sites that basically are like congregate sites that anything that's on the Ethereum blockchain shows up on OpenSea. And so MakersPlace is also working towards being more of like an open source platform as well. But as of right now, like once you purchase your NFT, as long as it's in your personal Ethereum wallet, not in your MakersPlace assigned wallet, you can move it around to your liking.
Great.
And then, oh yeah, sorry.
Oh no. Let's see. Rich and Emily, they're asking, can an NFT be listed on multiple platforms simultaneously?
So yes and no. So yes, in the case of like what I just described of, you know, sites that kind of are congregates of like anything going, like anything that's published on the Ethereum blockchain will go onto these sites and be listed on these sites. So like anything that's published on MakersPlace will also be published on OpenSea just automatically. You don't have to manually publish it on multiple platforms. However, we highly recommend against artists to publish, like to go onto MakersPlace and publish an artwork, and then to go onto a different platform and publish that same artwork, because that messes with basically the authenticity and the scarcity of the artwork. If you're publishing a one of one on one platform and then publishing that same one of one on another platform, that's not really transparent to the collector who thinks that there's only one of these that exists. So we definitely don't encourage, and it's actually against our policies in terms of conditions to publish artworks in that way.
Got it. Wax Wars has another question regarding the Beeple transaction. So firstly, I think he's asking, did the smart contract apply at the Christie auction, and did Beeple get 10% of the sale, which is 69.4 million?
Yeah, so you know what? I wish that I had the like exact specific breakdown of how that sale worked. But so typically commissions on MakersPlace gets 15% of the initial sale commission, right? And then the artist gets 10% of any royalties, which are like secondary sales, right? For this specific one, since it was a partnership with Christies, the typical commission structure was a bit out of our usual. So I'm not sure the exact percentages. That's something, Wax Wars, if you want to get in touch with me on Twitter, maybe I can get that to you. But my understanding is that it was, you know, Christie's had a large percentage, then Beeple had a percentage, and then I believe it was MakersPlace actually had 10% of that sale. So less than our usual commission, but Beeple absolutely got a percentage of the sale, which I believe, I'm pretty sure was higher than MakersPlace commission. Oh yeah, where can you get a digital frame? So there are 2 digital frame companies that I know of. I think that we're actually 3. I think that we're gonna see like more and more popping up as time goes by. But so digital frame. So there's a company called Canva, and maybe I'm gonna type these so that people can like go look at it. So Canva is one. Mural is another one. That one's spelled Meural. And then I'm pretty sure Panasonic and like Sony has their own digital frame as well. So here I'll say, sorry, I'm not sure.
There's one more that I like called Token Frame, but they're kind of
okay.
expensive. So
Right. Yeah. And so that's the thing, like right now with digital frames, I feel like they are a bit on the pricier side. But as more and more people are putting them out and more people are buying them, I think that they're definitely going to become more accessible. So,
cool.
and then, oh, oops, wait, sorry, I did something. How do people market NFTs? So a big part of like what we do at MakersPlace is try to help artists, both through like giving them visibility through our own platform, but also through like giving them the tools to market themselves. So I think right now social media is a really important tool for people marketing NFTs. So Twitter is where a lot of the NFT conversations are happening. So having an active presence on Twitter is really huge and helpful. Clubhouse, we see a lot of people on Clubhouse having conversations about NFTs. Discord is kind of a online chat room service where there's a lot of NFT stuff happening. Just kind of across social medias, Instagram, also I think a little less than Twitter. But I think just really like putting yourself out there, spending the time to market, connecting with the community itself, because there's a really dedicated and passionate NFT community. So the more engaged you are with that community and like attending NFT events and like, you know, not just expecting people to engage with your art, but also engaging with other people's art, I think is really helpful for that, for sure.
So we're actually up on time. So let's take one last question from Earl, and then we might have to wrap up.
Yes,
Rich
yeah,
Emily, feel free to
it's
reach
nice
out
because
to.
these are basically kind of the same question. And I'm sorry, I like talked way longer than I thought I was going to.
No worries.
So can you make an NFT from a digital scan of an oil or acrylic painting? Can traditional physical art be an NFT? So the answer to both of your guys' question is yes. I guess yes and no. So you definitely can convert a piece of traditional art, no matter what the medium is, into an NFT. However, you need to do some type of like digital rendering, digital manipulation or something to kind of ensure the digital quality of it. Like just taking a picture of something and then putting it up as an NFT. Like you can do that, technically speaking, you can. But I think the better received like fine art, digital art NFTs are the ones that, you know, are digitally enhanced in some way. And I mean, that can be as simple as just like scanning it, as you said, but, you know, digitally enhancing it to make sure that the quality of the scan is really top notch. But there is some type of like digital intervention that needs to happen for MakersPlace, at least. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you again. Thank you, Aisha,